They told me it was just a job, write some love lyrics, cash the check, disappear. But no one warned me the singer himself would look at me like he'd been waiting his whole life for the words only I could write. I wasn't supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to matter. My name was Ethan Cole, 23 years old. A college dropout scraping rent with ghostwriting gigs in coffee shops where the air reeked of burnt espresso and broken dreams. The industry didn't want me, hell, it didn't even know my name. They just wanted my words, stripped of my voice. And that was fine. Until him, Logan Hale, America's golden boy, platinum records, sold-out stadium tours, that voice everyone said could melt stone. He had the kind of smile that lived on billboards and the kind of presence that turned whole rooms into confessions. When his label called me in, I thought it was a mistake. Logan Hale didn't need a no-name lyricist. But apparently he wanted something raw, something real. And for some reason, they thought I could give it to him. The first time I met him, he walked into the studio late, sunglasses still on though it was night, hair tousled like he'd fought with the wind. I was hunched over my notebook, pretending not to care. But when he sat across from me, pulled his glasses down, and looked at me with those storm-gray eyes, I swear the pen shook in my hand. "So you're the guy who's gonna write my heart for me?" His voice was teasing, but it carried weight, as if he actually believed I could. I tried to laugh it off. "I'm just words on paper. You're the one people came to fall in love with." He leaned closer, elbows on the table, gaze fixed like a challenge. "Maybe. But tell me, how am I supposed to sing about love if I don't feel it?" That question lodged itself in me like a splinter, because I wasn't sure if he was asking as an artist, or as a man staring at me across the silence. The sessions went on like that, him unraveling in front of me trying to stay hidden behind lyrics. He'd hum the lines I wrote, sometimes so softly I felt it more than heard it. And every time his voice touched my words, I wanted to rip the pages away, terrified he'd see too much of me inside them. Because the truth was, I wasn't writing about some abstract idea of love. I was writing about him. One night, after hours of battling rhymes and metaphors, Logan threw himself back on the studio couch, arms flung wide like he owned the air. "You keep writing like love is pain," he said. "Like it's this wound you never stop bleeding." "Why?" I froze. My throat locked up. No one had ever asked me that before. "Maybe that's just the only version I know," I muttered, eyes glued to the scribbles in my notebook. He didn't answer right away. The silence stretched, heavy, unbearable. Then, so quiet I almost thought I imagined it, he said, "Then let me show you another one." My heart stuttered. I looked up, and he was watching Menet like a star, not like a client, but like a man who saw through every mask I'd built. That night I went home and couldn't write a single word. Because how do you capture the exact moment the ground shifts beneath you? How do you write about the way his eyes followed me like gravity, or the way his voice had carved itself into me like a vow? I told myself I was imagining it. That Logan Hale, adored by millions, couldn't possibly mean any of it. But the next day, when he sang the draft I'd given him, he didn't look at the mic. He didn't look at the producer behind the glass. He looked at me. Every line, every note, piercing straight through me, as if the entire song was a secret he was confessing to me alone. And the worst part? I wanted to believe it. By the third week, I stopped pretending. Every lyric I wrote was a love letter I couldn't send. Every melody he sang was a reply I wasn't brave enough to accept. But the closer we got, the more dangerous it felt. Because in an industry built on illusions, there was no room for someone like me to be seen beside him. I was supposed to be invisible, disposable. And Logan Hale was supposed to belong to everyone. Yet late at night, when the studio emptied and it was just us, I'd catch him looking at me like I was the only one in the room. Once, I dropped my notebook and bent to grab it. He crouched down at the same time, our hands brushing. It should have been nothing, but his fingers lingered just for a heartbeat, just enough to burn. I looked up, breath caught, and he was so close I could see the tiny scar above his lip. "You know," he whispered, voice rough, "every time you write me a song, I wonder if you know it's really about us." The word ricocheted inside me, dangerous and sweet. But before I could say anything, the door opened. His manager strode in, talking contracts and deadlines, and Logan pulled back like nothing had happened. Like he hadn't just set my whole world on fire. That night I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, torn between fear and a desire so raw it scared me. Because if I gave in, if I let myself fall into whatever this was, I knew there'd be no coming back. And yet, with every song, every look, every stolen second, I was already falling. The breaking point came on the night of the showcase. Logan was set to debut one of the songs I had written, our song. The label had called it a masterpiece, a raw confession of the human heart. They didn't know it was mine. They didn't know it was about him. And they didn't know that when he sang it, he'd be staring straight at me from under the stage lights. I sat in the darkened wings, hands clenched so tight my knuckles ached. The crowd roared as he stepped into the spotlight. Logan was everything he was meant to be: flawless, untouchable, dazzling. But when the music started, he wasn't flawless anymore. He was vulnerable. He was singing my words like they were his truth. And then it hit me. Every lyric I had given him, every hidden ache, every whispered confession wasn't just interpreting them. He was answering them. Every melody was a response, a hand reaching back through the void. When he sang the line, "If I could love in secret, would you stay anyway?" His gaze found me in the shadows, and for a terrifying, beautiful second, the world fell away. After the show, I tried to escape before he could find me. But Logan caught up in the hallway, grabbing my wrist and spinning me around. His face was flushed, his chest heaving from the stage. "You're running from me again," he said, eyes blazing. "Why?" "Because this isn't real," I snapped, though my voice shook. "You're a star, Logan. You sing for millions. And me? I'm just a ghostwriter. If anyone finds out," he cut me off, stepping closer, his grip tightening like he could anchor me there. "Ethan, listen to me. I don't care what the label says, what the fans think. Every song you've written, every word, it's you. It's us. And I'm done pretending otherwise." I froze. I had dreamed of hearing those words, but now that they were real, fear twisted in my chest. "You'll destroy your career," I whispered. His expression softened, but his voice was steady. "What's the point of a career if I can't even sing the truth?" The dam inside me broke. Before I could stop myself, I reached for him, and he caught me, pulling me into a kiss that felt like it had been written into every lyric we'd ever shared. It wasn't polished or perfect, it was raw, desperate, a collision of everything we had been too afraid to say. For the first time, I wasn't writing about love. I was living it. Of course, the world found out. Whispers spread, photos leaked, rumors grew like wildfire. The label panicked. The fans screamed betrayal and devotion in equal measure. For weeks, it felt like a storm we couldn't outrun. But Logan never let go of my hand. At press conferences, when journalists hurled questions like knives, he answered them with calm defiance. "Yes, Ethan writes my lyrics. Yes, he's the reason my songs sound the way they do. And Yesha's the person I love." The room always erupted after that. Headlines spun their stories. But in the quiet moments when we sat on the fire escape of his apartment, sharing cheap takeout and watching the city lights flicker, I realized none of it mattered. Because love, real love, was never about the world's permission. It was about finding the one person who saw every wound, every fear, every fragile part of you, and choosing to stay. And Logan stayed. Months later, he performed on stage again, this time introducing a song neither of us had shown the label, a song we wrote together. He held the mic like it was a lifeline, and when he sang, the words were simple, stripped of all pretense. "I was lost in silence until your voice found mine. Now every song I sing is us, forever in the same line." The crowd didn't cheer at first. They just listened, quiet, moved in a way even they couldn't deny. And when the last note faded, the roar that followed was deafening. Backstage, he found me in the chaos and pulled me into his arms, grinning through tears. "See," he whispered, "they don't want perfection. They want truth." I held him, finally allowing myself to believe. "Then let's keep giving it to them." And we did. We kept writing. We kept singing. We kept living, even when the world tried to turn us into headlines. Because at the end of the day, behind the fame, behind the fear, it was always just us two boys in a studio, writing each other into forever. I used to think I was just a ghostwriter. But with him, I wasn't invisible anymore. With him, I was the song. And in every melody that left his lips, I heard the same truth echo back. He was mine, and I was his. Always. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.